Welcome. Before you drift off to sleep tonight, please take a gentle moment to subscribe to the channel. Tonight, we are journeying back to the golden age of ancient Persia, along the fabled Silk Road, to spend a quiet evening with a wise and nurturing governess, wrapped in the golden embrace of autumn and surrounded by the faint, comforting scent of wood smoke. So settle in, pull your blankets close, and let us begin softly, as if treading across a sun-warmed mosaic courtyard, where leaves in shades of saffron and ochre drift silently upon the breeze. Imagine cool stone beneath your feet, the delicate brush of silk at your ankles, and the gentle hush that settles over a tranquil garden. Here, in the heart of Persia, our governess prepares for her day's gentle unfolding, her hands already warmed by the promise of stories, tasks, and quiet joys that await as the afternoon sunlight mellows. The scene opens within a spacious chamber, cool and serene, walls adorned with intricate blue and jade tilework that glimmers in the soft, filtered sunlight. Cushions embroidered with pomegranate motifs line a low divan, their threads gleaming like tiny jewels. The governess, robed in a flowing dress of hand-woven cotton dyed with saffron, stitched with care carefully smooths the folds of her attire. She smiles at the familiar touch of the fabric, tracing its faint ridges, and inhales the subtle fragrance of rosewater lingering from her morning ablutions. On a carved wooden table, a small brass ewer holds water for tea, and a delicate bowl of dried apricots rests beside it. Outside, the gentle crackle of wood smoke floats in through a latticed window, mixing with the earthy scent of autumn leaves and distant spices from the bustling bazaar beyond the walls. A gentle breeze stirs the sheer curtains, sending soft patterns of sunlight rippling across the mosaic floor. The governess glides to the window, her slippers silent upon the cool tiles, and gazes out into the enclosed garden. The air is rich with the aroma of burning cedar and sweet myrtle, mingling with the tang of ripening quince hanging heavily upon the bough. She observes the flutter of a hoopoe bird settling atop a low stone wall, its crest a tiny fan of gold and black. Bees hum among the late blossoms, while in the distance, she hears the melody of a reed fluty, an ever-present companion to the gentle rhythms of Persian life. The governess closes her eyes for a moment, letting the warmth of the afternoon sink into her bones, the world beyond her window moving with unhurried grace. Within the chamber, the governess' writing desk awaits, a surface smoothed by years of careful letters and lessons. The grain of the walnut wood is dark and lustrous, and upon it sit her favorite implements: a slender reed pen, a pot of obsidian ink, and a stack of soft, creamy parchment. Each sheet bears the faint scent of almond oil, a subtle comfort as she pens her daily reflections and gentle notes. Nestled in a woven basket are several scrolls, their edges worn from loving use. She reaches for a single sheet, the paper cool and crisp beneath her fingertips, and begins to write a simple greeting for her young charges. Her script is fluid, ornate, each character a small act of devotion. Outside, the shadows shift, dappling the tiles with ever-changing patterns. The kitchen lies just beyond a carved archway, filled with the low, inviting glow of a clay brazier. Here, the air is thick with the scent of roasting chestnuts and simmering lentils, a promise of nourishment to come. Copper pans hang from a dark wooden beam, their surfaces polished to a soft gleam. The governess moves quietly, fingers trailing along the smooth, time-worn edge of a stone countertop. She selects a handful of dried figs from a painted bowl and arranges them with care, their skins dark and wrinkled, their flesh sweet as honey. A small bundle of saffron threads rests nearby, precious, scarlet, and fragrant. She crushes a few strands between her fingers, releasing a perfume both exotic and comforting, the very soul of Persian autumn mingling with the wood smoke that curls in from the courtyard. In the gentle heart of the home, the governess prepares tea using a silver samovar, its body etched with swirling calligraphy. She fills it with water drawn from a cool, stone cistern, watching as the first soft bubbles rise. Into the teapot she drops a handful of dried rose petals and a twist of orange peel, their mingled scents filling the air with the memory of distant orchards. As the tea steeps, she cups her hands around a porcelain bowl, feeling its warmth seep into her palms. The rhythm of the boiling water is steady, almost meditative, a sound that settles the spirit. She listens to the faint crackle of the fire, the shuffle of slippers in the corridor, and the gentle clink of cups as she sets out a small tray, ready to share this simple pleasure with her young pupils. In the adjoining schoolroom, bathed in golden sunlight, low tables are scattered with small ink pots, reed pens, and clay tablets. The walls bear faint murals of mythical simmer birds and cypress trees, their lines lovingly restored by careful hands. A braided woolen rug cushions the floor, its pattern a cascade of tulips and vines. The governess takes a moment to straighten the ink pots, aligning them just so, and arranges a stack of tablets where the children will sit. She touches the cool, smooth surface of a tablet, recalling the many lessons etched and erased, each day a fresh beginning. A faint breeze carries in the fragrance of henna and sandalwood. The air is quiet, save for the distant laughter of children playing among the fig trees, their voices as light as autumn leaves fluttering over worn flagstones. Returning to her own chamber, the governess gathers her embroidery hoop, threaded with silk dyed in the hues of the season, rich gold, deep russet, and verdant green. She sits upon a cushion beside a narrow window, the light falling perfectly onto her lap. The linen she works is soft, almost buttery, its weave fine and even beneath her needle. With each careful stitch, she forms delicate motifs, pomegranates split to reveal their jeweled seeds, laurel leaves twining along the border, and tiny swallows poised in flight. The act is soothing, a quiet meditation, her needle rising and falling in a gentle rhythm. Occasionally she pauses, lifting the cloth to her cheek, savoring the faint, clean scent of lye soap from its last wash. The room is filled with the promise of something beautiful slowly taking shape. A gentle tapping at the door signals the arrival of her youngest pupil, little Nargis, her hair neatly braided and eyes bright. The governess smiles, setting aside her embroidery, and invites Nargis to join her upon the cushion. The child nestles close, her small hands wrapped around a wooden puzzle. The governess guides her, showing how to fit the pieces together to form the shape of a cypress tree, their laughter soft and melodious. Sunlight glimmers on Nargis' amber earrings, a gift from her grandmother. The governess marvels at the warmth in this simple moment, the comfort of shared discovery, the softness of wool against skin, and the gentle bond that grows, stitch by stitch, lesson by lesson, in the golden afternoon. The scent of wood smoke lingers, a steady backdrop to their quiet joy. The hour grows slower, the light more honeyed, as the governess rises to tend to her herb garden. She steps outside onto the flagstones, the shadows cool and long at her feet. The air is deliciously crisp, tinged with the faintest chill, and she draws her shawl closer. Her fingers brush over the silvery leaves of sage, the sharp, lemony green of coriander, and the pale, powdery lavender buds. She carefully harvests a handful of mint, the leaves releasing their bright fragrance as she gently crushes them between her thumb and forefinger. The garden is peaceful, a sanctuary enclosed by high mud brick walls, where butterflies drift lazily and the last swallows of the season perch atop a crumbling fountain. With each breath, she feels the world grow slower, softer, the day unfurling in gentle waves of comfort and calm. In the waning afternoon, the governess returns to the kitchen with her bundle of mint. She fills a glazed bowl with cool water from the well, watching the droplets bead on her fingers, then gently rinses the leaves. The water ripples softly, catching the golden light that filters through the small arched window. She lays out the mint upon a freshly laundered linen cloth, its surface smooth and faintly scented of sun and soap. The kitchen is quiet, save for the distant creak of a wooden door and the muffled cooing of doves on the rooftop. As she works, she hums a tune remembered from her own girlhood, the melody winding through the stillness like a silken thread. The world outside fades away, leaving only the serenity of her task, the comfort of familiar rituals, and the gentle warmth of the fire. A tray is prepared for the children's afternoon snack, a round of pillowy flatbread, warm from the oven, brushed with olive oil and dusted with sumac. Alongside it, she places a small dish of quince jam, its color a luminous amber, and a scattering of walnuts. The bread is soft, its crust faintly crisp, and she tears it carefully, feeling the resilience of the dough. The scent rising from the tray is both savory and sweet, mingling with the ever-present aroma of wood smoke and roasted chestnuts. She arranges everything with quiet pride, ensuring each portion is just right. The governess sets the tray atop a low table in the sun-warmed schoolroom, the food an offering of nurture and continuity, a reminder that care is found in the smallest of gestures, in the simplest of meals, shared in quiet companionship. The children gather, their voices soft and eager, settling about the table with shy smiles. The governess pours tea, the pale golden liquid swirling in delicate porcelain cups. The children's hands are small and careful, their laughter bubbling like a hidden spring. She watches them, her heart filled with a gentle satisfaction as they share stories of their morning lessons, their eyes bright with curiosity. One child, Borom, offers her a shy drawing of a peacock, its tail a riot of color. She praises his work, tracing the careful lines with one fingertip, and listens as he describes the bird's regal strut in the palace gardens. The afternoon sunlight slants low, illuminating the motes of flower dust that drift through the air, a golden haze that softens every edge, making the world feel endlessly kind and safe. As the children finish their snack, the governess leads them outside to the garden for a lesson in botany beneath the gentle gaze of the setting sun. She kneels on the soft earth, her skirts fanned around her, and invites the children to gather round. One by one, they examine the fragrant herbs and late-blooming flowers. The governess places a sprig of rosemary in each small palm, describing its uses in both kitchen and apothecary. The children listen, wide-eyed, as she explains how sage can soothe a cough, and how lavender is tucked under pillows to bring restful sleep. A butterfly lands on her sleeve, its wings painted in marble turquoise and cream. The children giggle, and she laughs with them, her voice blending with the whisper of wind in the quince trays, a gentle harmony that soothes both heart and mind. The governess encourages the children to gather petals and leaves for their own little sachets, providing muslin pouches and bright silk ribbons. The children's fingers are nimble, threading the ribbons and tying careful knots. The scent of crushed herbs and blossoms fills the air, mint cool and invigorating, rose petals soft and sweet. The governess helps a child struggling with his bow, her touch gentle and patient. Together, they create small treasures, each sachet a fragrant memory to tuck under a pillow or into a pocket. The moment is unhurried, filled with the soft rustling of leaves and the children's quiet concentration. The governess feels a deep sense of fulfillment in these simple acts of teaching, nurturing not only minds, but also the senses and the spirit, under the watchful, golden light of the Persian afternoon. With the sachets finished, the governess leads the children back inside, their hands full of perfumed pouches and their cheeks flushed with pleasure. The corridor is cool and shadowed, lined with glazed tiles that reflect their happy faces as they pass. The governess pauses to hang her shawl upon an ornate brass hook, feeling the lingering warmth of the sun in its folds. She watches the children settle on the rug with their new treasures, each one pressing a sachet to their face and inhaling its calming scent. The governess kneels beside them, smoothing the fringe of the rug with a practiced hand, and speaks in a low, soothing voice, telling a story of a wise woman who healed with herbs and kindness. The children listen, spellbound, the room filled with the soft, spicy perfume of their handiwork and the gentle hush of dusk drawing near. The story ends, and the children lean against the governess, their bodies relaxed and eyes bright. She gives each a reassuring squeeze, her hands warm and steady. The governess rises, moving to the window to check on the simmering lentils. From here, she can see the sky, now streaked with shades of apricot and violet, the clouds drifting lazily as the sun slips lower. Below, the town's rooftops smoke gently, the scent of burning wood mingling with the distant aroma of roasting spices. She inhales deeply, letting these familiar fragrances anchor her in this serene moment. The children begin to tidy the room, their movements slow and contented, while the governess quietly prepares the evening's lessons, her mind calm and clear. The room is wrapped in the tranquil promise of night, every detail softened by the fading light and a sense of quiet belonging. In the kitchen, the governess stirs the lentils, the wooden spoon warm and smooth in her hand. The pot releases a fragrant steam laced with cumin, coriander, and a touch of dried lime, ingredients chosen for their aroma as much as their flavor. She tastes the broth, the spoon touching her lips with a gentle heat, and adds a pinch more salt from an alabaster dish. A small, hand-painted bowl holds freshly diced carrots and onions, their colors vibrant against the old ceramic. She pours them into the simmering pot, listening to the quiet sizzle as the vegetables meet the bubbling broth. The kitchen is a sanctuary, centered on the glowing brazier, the heat comforting after the chill of the garden. The governess moves slowly, each gesture deliberate, lost in the contemplation of simple, nourishing tasks. With the stew left to simmer, the governess wipes her hands upon a thick linen towel, feeling its nubbly, hand-woven texture. She steps through the doorway into the main hall, where the light from the garden filters in, casting a latticework of golden patterns upon the walls. On a low table, a vase of autumn wildflowers glows in the dwindling light: marigolds, asters, and a few last crimson poppies. The governess pauses before a small alcove holding family relics: a silver mirror, a string of amber beads, and a little clay tablet inscribed with prayers for peace and abundance. She touches the beads, cool and round in her palm, and offers a quiet thank you for the gifts of this day: warmth, safety, harvest, and the gentle company of children. The moment is still, heavy with gratitude and the unhurried hush of evening. As twilight deepens, the governess lights a beeswax candle, its wick catching with a soft pop and the flicker of a golden flame. The scent of honey and wildflowers fills the air, blending with the earthy tang of wood smoke wafting in through the open window. She carries the candle to her desk, the flame dancing gently behind its glass shield, casting soft shadows that shift along the tiled floor. The children gather round, eyes wide in the gentle glow, and the governess opens a storybook bound in deep green leather. Her voice is soft, melodic, weaving tales of wise queens, clever animals, and gardens that bloom beneath the moon. The children listen, their faces rapt, while the world outside hushes into stillness. The candle's warmth is a small sun in the deepening dusk, a promise that even as the day fades, comfort and hope remain. The story draws to a close, and the children's eyelids grow heavy. The governess marks the place with a velvet ribbon, her fingers lingering on the smooth, cool cover. She invites the children to share their own dreams of flying horses, secret gardens, and rivers lined with silvery fish. Each child's voice is soft, their hopes and imaginings spun like silken threads in the quiet. The governess listens, her smile gentle, offering encouragement in a low, musical tone. She smooths back a stray curl from Narja's brow, the child already half asleep, and wraps a woolen shawl around Borom's shoulders. The room glows with the soft light of the candle, the scent of honey and herbs lulling everyone into tranquil silence. Outside, the sky has deepened to indigo, and the first stars begin to appear, winking between the high garden walls. The governess ushers the children to their sleeping mats, each adorned with a soft, quilted coverlet stitched in shades of saffron and blue. She tucks each child in, smoothing the fabric and whispering a blessing drawn from ancient Persian verse. The mats are arranged in a semicircle near the hearth, where the last embers of the day's fire glow faintly, lending the room a cozy warmth. She lingers for a moment beside each child, ensuring their sashes are close, their pillows plump, and their worries soothed away by the gentle rhythm of her words. The children sigh contentedly, their breathing slowing as they drift toward sleep. The governess softly closes the shutters, blocking out the cool night air, then tiptoes to her own corner of the room, her heart full with the quiet satisfaction of a day well spent. Alone now in the stillness, the governess sits beside the window, gazing up at the night sky. The moon hangs low, a silver crescent framed by the dark tracery of cypress branches. She reflects upon her own journey, miles traveled along the Silk Road, letters sent and received, each step bringing her closer to this gentle place of belonging. On her lap rests a folded letter from a distant friend, its seal broken but its message fresh in her memory. She thinks of shared laughter, the press of hands, the way stories and hope travel across distance like caravans in the night. The windowpane is cool against her cheek, and she draws her shawl closer, listening to the faint, rhythmic chirr of crickets beyond the walls. The night is deep and soft, the world wrapped in a velvet quiet. The governess stands to fetch her own meal, a simple supper of lentil stew, flatbread, and a slice of honeyed melon. The bowl is heavy in her hands, its glazed surface smooth and cool. She sits cross-legged by the brazier, her feet tucked beneath her skirts, and savors each bite. The stew is rich with earthy spices, its warmth spreading through her body like the embrace of a woolen cloak. The bread is tender, yielding with the faintest crackle, and the melon tastes of summer lingering in autumn's breath. She eats slowly, mindful of each texture and flavor, grateful for abundance and the gentle rhythm of her days. The room is silent but for the crackle of the fire and the distant song of a nightingale, its melody floating through the open window, sweet as a promise kept. After her meal, she tidies the kitchen, wiping the table with a damp, linen cloth. Its fibers are soft but strong, the weave tight and even beneath her palm. She rinses the bowls in a basin of tepid water, the surface rippling with each gentle movement. The air is fragrant with the last traces of stew, the sharper scent of mint, and a faint whisper of wood smoke. As she works, she listens to the shifting of the house, the creak of a wooden beam, the sigh of wind against the shutters, the settling hush of night. The tasks are unhurried, each one a small act of care that closes the day with quiet order and comfort. The kitchen glows with candlelight, every surface touched with a golden sheen, and the governess hums softly, a lullaby for no one but herself. Her chores done, the governess returns to the main hall, where she selects a soft woolen wrap from a cedar chest, the scent of the wood mingling with the faint perfume of lavender sachets stored within. She drapes the wrap over her shoulders, feeling its weight, a comforting embrace that wards off the autumn chill. In a shallow alcove, a small clay oil lamp flickers, its flame steady and bright. She settles onto the divan, feet curled beneath her, the cushions yielding and cool. She picks up her embroidery once more, the half-finished panel resting lightly across her knees. The scene she works, a garden blooming with peonies and night-blooming jasmine, seems to come alive in the golden lamplight. Each stitch is slow and deliberate, a gentle meditation as the house grows ever quieter around her. A sudden memory comes to her, of her own childhood, learning to sew beside her mother's loom, the rhythmic clack of the shuttle, the warmth of wool, and the gentle encouragement of skilled hands. She recalls the soft laughter that filled those afternoons, the taste of honey cakes, the way the light fell through the open doors of their humble home. The memory is bittersweet, a thread connecting past and present, woven into the fabric of her being. The governess pauses, her needle poised, and lets gratitude fill her heart for all the women who have taught and nurtured her, for the quiet strength that endures from one generation to the next. In the hush of the Persian evening, with the fire's glow at her feet and the scent of wood smoke in the air, she returns to her embroidery, each stitch a silent blessing. The house settles into its nighttime rhythm. From the garden, the sound of a water fountain is gentle, the water lapping against smooth stone, its music soft and constant. The governess listens as she sews, the thread whispering through linen, her breath slow and deep. The lamp casts an amber glow upon her work, illuminating the delicate colors, the gold of marigold petals, the midnight blue of a peacock's feather, the pale pink of blossoming almond. Occasionally, she looks up, watching how the candlelight shivers against the patterned tiles. She imagines the stories hidden within each tile, the hands that carved them, the lives spent beneath their beauty. The air is cool, tinged with the scent of night-blooming herbs and the faintest trace of incense from a neighboring courtyard. The moment is complete, quietly perfect. Feeling a touch of fatigue, the governess sets her embroidery aside and reaches for a slender reed flute, its surface polished and cool. She raises it to her lips and breathes a soft melodia lullaby known to generations of Persian women, its notes winding through the house like a gentle stream. The song is simple, its rhythm slow and soothing, echoing the quiet pulse of the evening. The sound weaves around her, touching every shadowed corner, wrapping the night in a cocoon of music. She plays only for herself, but sometimes imagines her mother listening, or the distant friend who wrote her the cherished letter. As the last notes fade, she lowers the flute, heart light with the knowledge that music, like love and memory, can bring comfort across any distance. The silence that follows is deep and safe. She returns the flute to its place and pours herself a cup of tea, the porcelain cool against her fingers, the aroma of rose and orange blossom rising in fragrant steam. She sips slowly, savoring the floral sweetness, and watches the flame of the oil lamp dance atop its little pool of gold. The world beyond her window is utterly still now. The air is soft and dark, and the garden glows faintly under the moon's silver gaze. The governess feels the edges of sleep begin to soften her thoughts, the tea, the music, the warmth of her shawl all conspiring to lull her into a gentle drowsiness. She leans back against the cushions, her breathing slow and even, and lets her mind drift on memories of silk roads and golden afternoons, of safety found in small routines and the deep, abiding peace of home. In this quiet moment, the governess gaze lingers on the pattern of the tiles beneath her feet, a mosaic of indigo, gold, and creamy white, each piece smooth and cool, worn by years of gentle footsteps. She imagines the artisans who shaped them, their hands steady, their hearts full of dreams of beauty and harmony. She traces a single tile with her toe, feeling its faint unevenness, a reminder of human touch upon the world. The flicker of the lamp casts shifting shadows, creating new patterns that ripple and change like water. The governess closes her eyes, breathing in the scent of beeswax, cedar, and distant jasmine. The warmth of the woolen wrap swaddles her, and she feels herself floating in a sea of quiet, the textures, scents, and sounds of her home blending into a lullaby for the soul. She recalls a recent walk through the local bazaar, a memory vivid and textured. The stalls were draped with bolts of shimmering silk and cool cotton, spices heaped in pyramids of crimson and ochre, and baskets of figs, dates, and almonds. The haggling voices of merchants rose and fell in a gentle chorus, but nothing among them was rushed or harsh. She remembers the touch of a freshly woven scarf, cool and soft, the pattern echoing the cypress trees of her own garden. The scent of cardamom and rosewater, heavy in the air, made her think of home and tea. She carries these memories with her, drawing comfort from them as the night deepens, a reminder that beauty lies in daily things, in the curve of a bowl, the taste of new bread, the laughter of children at her side. A gentle knock at the door startles her from her reverie. It is one of the household's older women, a kindly herbalist, her hand stained by henna and sage. She brings a small dish of candied ginger wrapped in wax paper, and the two women share it in companionable silence. The ginger is bright and sweet, with just a hint of heat to contrast to the cool, velvety air of the night. They talk softly of herbs, remedies, and the coming winter, their voices low and warm. The governess listens closely to the herbalist's wisdom, her stories of healing and gentle cures passed down from mother to daughter. They sip tea together, the cup's porcelain clinking lightly on the saucer, a sound as soft as rain on stone. The world beyond the walls fades, leaving only this cocoon of friendship and safety. With the herbalist's departure, the governess tidies the small dish and folds the waxed paper, her movements unhurried and precise. She places the candied ginger in a lidded jar for the next day, the glass smooth and cool in her hands. She wipes the table with a fresh cloth, the linen soft and faintly scented with lavender from its storage. She pauses to look about the room, appreciating the order and simplicity she has created, a space of comfort, light, and gentle beauty. The lamp's glow reflects in the polished brass tray, casting a warm golden aura. She smooths the folds of her skirt, watching the light play across the embroidered hem, and feels a sense of contentment settle deep within her bones. The quiet is profound, broken only by the distant call of an owl and the soft susurration of a cool night breeze. She draws a small, battered book from her satchel, a collection of poetry, its pages thin and supple from years of reading. The cover is faded, the corners worn, but the words within are as vivid as the day they were penned. She turns the pages slowly, savoring the soft crackle of paper and the faint scent of ink and old parchment. Her finger lingers on a favorite verse, one that speaks of autumn gardens, the turning of leaves, and the gentle passage of time. She reads aloud, her voice barely above a whisper, letting the rhythm and cadence of the words settle over her like a blanket. The lines speak of gratitude, patience, and the beauty found in a single falling leaf. The governess closes her eyes, the poetry echoing in her heart, and lets herself drift in a tide of gentle nostalgia. With the poetry book resting in her lap, the governess turns her attention to the small altar in the corner of her room. Upon it sit offerings of dried figs, a handful of barley, and a tiny lamp burning fragrant oil. She bows her head in silent thanks for the blessings of the day: health, warmth, the laughter of children, and the comfort of safe walls. Her prayers are for peace, for gentle weather, and for the well-being of those she loves, both near and far. The flickering light of the lamp casts delicate shadows upon the wall, the movement mesmerizing, like a dance known only to the flame. The air is fragrant with oil and a faint trace of incense, carrying her thoughts outward on invisible wings. She rises slowly, feeling renewed in spirit and ready for the soft embrace of sleep. She prepares for bed with quiet, loving attention. Her nightgown is made of the softest linen, cool and weightless as she slips it over her head. She brushes her hair with a wooden comb, its teeth wide and smooth, untangling the day's knots and spreading the natural oils through each strand. The sound of the comb is gentle, a soft whisper, and with each stroke, the cares of the day seem to fall away. She rubs a little rose oil into her palms, pressing it lightly to her temples and neck, the perfume calming and familiar. She checks the children one last time, ensuring each is warm, their breathing slow and deep. The house is utterly still, every corner wrapped in darkness and peace, and the governess feels the slow, gentle tug of sleep beginning to draw her in. In her private chamber, the governess lays out her journal, its cover supple and well-loved. She dips her reed pen into the ink pot and writes a few lines about the day, each word careful and flowing, a quiet record of small joys, the kindness of the herbalist, the laughter of children, the way the light caught in the marigolds. Her script curls and loops across the page, a visual echo of the winding garden paths. The act of writing eases her thoughts, each line a step closer to rest. She pauses to listen to the soft sounds of the night, a distant dog barking, the gentle flutter of wings in the rafters, the almost inaudible sigh of wind pressing against the garden wall. The world is safe, contained, and lovingly detailed, each breath deepening her sense of calm and closure. She closes her journal and slides it beneath her pillow, an old superstition for sweet dreams. She sits for a moment on the edge of her low, cushioned bed, feeling the softness yield beneath her, the linen cool against her ankles. The room is dim, lit only by the fading glow of the oil lamp and the slanting silver of the moon. She pulls a quilt over her shoulders, the fabric heavy and comforting, stitched in geometric patterns of blue and gold. The familiar weight settles her, grounding her in the present. She listens as the fountain in the garden continues its gentle music, a sound as steady as her own heartbeat. Closing her eyes, she feels the day's final tension melt away, replaced by a profound sense of safety and belonging, as the world narrows to this soft, precious space. The governess curls onto her side, her body relaxed and warm. She draws the coverlet up beneath her chin, savoring the silky brush of the fabric against her cheek. The night is utterly quiet now, the air still and sweet with the lingering scent of herbs and wood smoke. Somewhere in the distance, a bell chimes soft and melodic, marking the passage of another hour. The sound is low and reassuring, a reminder that time moves in gentle circles here, nothing rushed or urgent. She listens to the slow rhythm of her own breath, the way her chest rises and falls in time with the hush of the night. Thoughts drift like clouds, soft, formless, and peaceful. Each breath is slower than the last, and she surrenders to the quiet comfort of the moment, inviting sleep to come softly and stay until dawn. In the last moments before drifting off, the governess recalls a story her grandmother once told, a tale of a golden pomegranate that granted wishes to those with kind hearts. She remembers the cadence of her grandmother's voice, the gentle touch of her hand, and the safe cocoon of blankets on a cold night much like this one. The memory soothes her, wrapping her in layers of love and tradition that go back generations. The room feels even smaller, cozier, as if the walls themselves are leaning in to offer protection. The faint glow of the oil lamp flickers one last time, casting a final wave of gold across the tiles before guttering out. The governess welcomes the darkness, not with fear, but with gratitude for its softness, the way it cradles her in dreams and lets the world outside fall away. She dreams herself walking again along the Silk Road, her steps unhurried and sure. The path is lined with autumn trees, their leaves a carpet of gold and red, and the distant mountains are dusted with the first snow. Beside her, a caravan moves slowly, camels swaying, bells tinkling, merchants murmuring in many tongues. She feels the weight of her linen apron, its weave tight and comforting, and the gentle sway of her satchel against her hip. The air is cold, filled with the familiar scent of wood smoke, cardamom, and wool. The sky is endless, a deep cobalt blue, and the sun glimmers on the distant domes of a city at rest. She walks in peace, each step a gentle reminder that she is both a part of the world's great story and sheltered within its small, loving moments. As she wanders in her dream, she finds herself entering a bustling caravanserai, the stone courtyard warm beneath her feet, lanterns swinging gently from wooden beams. She hears the soothing sounds of water in the central fountain, the laughter of travelers, and the mellow chords of a tanbur played by the fireside. The air is rich with scent, spice stews, sweet dates, and the ever-present wood smoke curling from braziers. She is greeted by a group of women tending to children, their hands busy with weaving and mending. They welcome her with gentle smiles and a cup of hot tea, the warmth spreading through her, chased with the delicate fragrance of saffron and rose. In this haven of safety, she feels her spirit rest, surrounded by quiet voices, skillful hands, and the simple grace of shared work. She watches as the women of the caravanserai spin wool, their distaffs moving in slow, practiced circles. The fibers are soft, cloud-like, and dyed in gentle hues: sage green, mellow ochre, sky blue. The governess is invited to join, and she accepts gladly, feeling the wool slip between her fingers, its texture both familiar and soothing. The rhythmic motion of spinning is hypnotic, each turn a quiet repetition that echoes the steady beating of her heart. The women talk of their homes, gardens, the dreams they have for their children, and the subtle joys of autumn: the gathering of nuts and figs, the first taste of cider. The governess listens, her heart expanding with a sense of kinship, the knowledge that across distance and language, women's lives are bound by the same gentle, loving routines. As the evening deepens in her dream, the governess is drawn to a low table where a child sits, her head bent over a tablet of wet clay. The child is shaping letters, her small hand steady, her concentration fierce and pure. The governess kneels beside her, offering quiet encouragement, helping to smooth the clay and trace new words. Together, they laugh softly at a crooked character, patient with every mistake. The candlelight above pools golden on the clay, turning it to velvet. The governess feels the satisfaction of this shared work, a moment of learning that is as old as time. The world beyond the caravanserai fades, replaced by the warm circle of lamplight, the hush of friendly voices, and the serenity that comes from creating, teaching, and learning in harmony. The dream shifts, and she finds herself in a small apothecary garden hidden within the caravanserai's walls. Raised beds overflow with herbs, basil, thyme, fenugreek and tall hollyhocks sway in the evening breeze. The air is fragrant, thick with the green, sharp tang of growing things and the faint smoke of a nearby fire. The governess kneels to gather a handful of violet blossoms, their petals soft and cool, and tucks them into a pouch to bring back to her chamber. She finds a bench of stone, its surface worn smooth by use, and sits to watch the crescent moon climb higher above the tiled roofs. The garden is utterly peaceful, the only sounds her own slow breathing and the whisper of leaves. She feels her heart slow, her mind quiet, and gratitude for the gifts of the earth fill her spirit. As the night deepens, the governess dreams of weaving a great loom stands in the center of the garden, its frame made of fragrant cedar wood. She passes the shuttle back and forth, the warp threads tight and shining under her fingers. Each pass is steady, the threads forming a tapestry of autumn fields, golden domes, and flowing rivers. The fabric beneath her hands is smooth and warm, the colors shifting with the light bronze, carmine, olive green. She feels the presence of her ancestors at her side, women who have spun and woven before her, each one adding a stitch to the great tapestry of their lineage. The act of weaving is slow, meditative, a gentle assertion that beauty and order can be made from the chaos of scattered threads. The dream is soft, the rhythm lulling her ever nearer to sleep. In the heart of the dream, the governess is surrounded by music, soft drumming, the distant pluck of a santa, the rise and fall of women's voices singing an old lullaby. The notes float through the cool night air, mingling with the scent of jasmine and the crackle of the communal fire. She feels the vibration of the music in her bones, each beat a tender reassurance that the world is kind and safe. The children she teaches drift closer, curling up at her feet, their faces serene in the flickering firelight. The governess cradles one small head in her lap, stroking a brow with gentle fingers, feeling the deep peace that comes when those in her care are held safe. The night is endless, the music slow and hypnotic, and she lets herself rest in its embrace, wrapped in gentle sound and warmth. The dream grows quieter still. The governess lies upon a thick woolen rug, her head pillowed on her folded arms, the firelight flickering across her face. She listens to the slow breathing of the children around her, the rising and falling of gentle chests, the occasional sigh or murmur of a dream. She feels the rug's coarse fibers against her cheek, the weight of a quilt draped over her, the pleasant heaviness of fatigue settling in her limbs. Above, the stars turn slowly, wheeling across the limitless Persian sky, and the moon sheds its pale light on the tiled roofs and silent gardens below. She lets the comfort of the moment sink into her soft breathing, warm wool, starlit silence, her thoughts slowing, her body sinking deeper into the safe embrace of sleep. The dream lingers, the world now a tapestry of golden light, soft voices, and gentle touch. The governess finds herself drifting between waking and sleeping, comforted by the sense that nothing is required of her except to rest and receive the calm that surrounds her. The scent of wood smoke is ever present, grounding her in the memory of home, hearth, and the small kindnesses that make a life well lived. She listens to the far-off sound of a nightingale, its song pure and sweet, rising above the hum of the night. A single leaf falls from the courtyard fig tree, spinning lazily to rest upon the mosaic tiles. All is still, all is safe, and the governess lets herself float freely, held by the rhythms of night, music, and the unbroken thread of love that ties her to those she cares for. In the gentle liminal space between dream and waking, the governess feels the warmth of the new day pressing close. She is aware of her soft linen sheets, the pillow's coolness beneath her cheek, and the faint, comforting weight of her quilt. The room is hushed, illuminated by the first pale light of dawn, and the air is tinged with the promise of wood smoke and dew. She stirs, not yet ready to rise, enjoying the slow, sweet gathering of consciousness, the sense that all is exactly as it should be. The house is silent, the children still asleep, their dreams protected by the lingering magic of night. She lets her thoughts drift, savoring the gentle threshold between rest and waking, knowing that the day will unfold with the same quiet beauty as the one before, each hour another chance for care and contemplation. As the light grows stronger, the governess rises and steps to the window, drawing back the curtain to reveal the autumn garden gilded by sunrise. The dew sparkles on every blade of grass, each droplet a tiny jewel. She opens the window, letting in the crisp morning air and the distant sound of a rooster crowing. The scent of fresh earth, ripening fruit, and faint wood smoke fills her lungs, invigorating her for the day ahead. She stretches, feeling the gentle ache of well-used muscles, and thanks the dawn for its promise of warmth and renewal. The sky is streaked with rose and gold, clouds moving in slow procession. She watches a flock of starlings wheel above the rooftops, their wings flashing silver in the light, their motion a reminder of the grace that underlies even the most ordinary morning. She descends to the kitchen, the stone floor cool against her bare feet. The room is bathed in soft, golden light, the fire a small, steady glow in the brazier. She fills a kettle with water and sets it to boil, the sound a gentle murmur in the stillness. As she waits, she slices a round loaf of bread, the crust crackling beneath her knife, the crumbs soft and fragrant. She spreads fresh cheese across the slices and spoons out a dollop of fig jam, its sweetness glistening in the dawn. The air is filled with the scent of baking bread, cheese, and the sharp tang of black tea brewing. The governess lays the table with carrier-woven mat, polished wooden cups, a small vase of wildflowers picked from the garden. Each movement is deliberate, unhurried, a celebration of the new day unfolding. She carries breakfast to the schoolroom, where the children are beginning to stir beneath their quilts. The room is quiet, the air still heavy with the warmth and scent of sleep. The governess sings a gentle song as she sets out the food, her voice low and soothing, coaxing the children awake. One by one, they sit up, rubbing their eyes, their hair tousled and faces soft with dreams. She pours tea into their cups, the steam rising in delicate spirals, and offers each child a slice of bread and cheese. The children eat slowly, grateful and content, their conversation soft and unhurried. The governess sits among them, sharing in this quiet communion. The day begins not with bustle, but with the loving repetition of daily ritual: a shared meal, a soft song, the warmth of kinship and home. After breakfast, the governess gathers the children for their morning lessons. They sit cross-legged on the schoolroom rug, their tablets and pens arranged in neat rows before them. The governess' voice is low and melodic as she guides them through their lessons, reciting poetry, tracing letters, solving simple sums. The children work with quiet concentration, their heads bowed over the creamy parchment, the rhythm of their pens a soft, steady music. The governess moves from child to child, offering encouragement, smoothing a brow, or tucking a stray curl behind an ear. Now and then, she pauses to admire a particularly elegant script or a clever answer, her pride in their progress shining in her eyes. The room is filled with the gentle satisfaction that comes from honest effort and the slow, steady accumulation of knowledge. Mid-morning arrives, and the governess announces a break. The children spill into the sunlit garden, their laughter echoing beneath the fig trees. The grass is soft and springy, scattered with fallen leaves in every shade of gold and crimson. The governess watches from the doorway, her heart swelling with quiet joy at the sight of their playful freedom. She kneels to gather a handful of marigolds, the petals velvet soft and bright as fire. The children gather round, eager to help her weave the flowers into garlands. Their small fingers are skillful, and soon each child wears a crown of marigolds, their faces radiant. The governess laughs, setting a garland atop her own dark hair, and the children clap in delight. The moment is pure, unspoiled, and filled with the beauty of simple pleasures shared beneath the autumn sun. The children grow quiet beneath the weight of their floral crowns, lying in the grass to watch the clouds drift slowly overhead. The governess settles beside them, the warmth of the earth seeping through her skirts. She traces shapes in the sky with her finger: a lion, a bird, a drifting ship, inviting the children to imagine stories to match each form. Their voices are soft, dreamy, and full of wonder as they spin gentle tales of sky and earth, of creatures and heroes drifting between the clouds. The governess listens, content to let their imaginations roam, her own mind at rest. The sun is warm, the air filled with the scent of marigolds and wood smoke, and the world feels suspended in a moment of perfect peace. The only sound is the lazy drone of bees and the children's soft breathing as they begin to drift towards nap. The governess leads the children back inside for a midday rest, guiding them to their mats and covering them with soft quilts. She dims the shutters, letting only a sliver of light spill across the floor, and sits nearby with her embroidery. The children close their eyes, their bodies sinking into the comfort of their beds, their breaths deep and even. The governess stitches quietly, the silk thread gliding through linen, each stitch a measured beat in the slow rhythm of the afternoon. The house is silent except for the distant chatter of sparrows and the hushed crackle of the kitchen fire. She watches as the children drift into sleep, their faces peaceful and untroubled, and feels a wave of gratitude for the trust and love that bind them together. The moment is soft, suspended, and endlessly gentle. While the children nap, the governess tends to her correspondence. She sits at her desk, the parchment cool beneath her hand, and opens a letter from a distant cousin traveling along the Silk Road. The cousin writes of new towns, the taste of foreign sweets, and the sight of snow-capped mountains rising above the desert. The governess smiles at the familiar script, tracing the curling letters with one finger, and begins her reply. She writes of the garden's changes, the children's progress, and the comfort of home. Her words are careful and loving, each sentence a thread woven into the tapestry of family memory. She seals the letter with a drop of wax, pressing her signet into it, and lays it aside to be sent with the next caravan. The act of writing soothes her, a gentle bridge between far places and familiar rooms. The children awaken slowly, blinking in the soft afternoon light. The governess brings them a tray of honeyed milk and dates, the cups warm and the fruit sticker sweet upon their tongues. She sits among them, reading aloud from a book of fables, her voice low and musical, the stories winding through the air like silk ribbons. The children cluster close, drawn in by the gentle cadence of her words and the comfort of her presence. The tales are filled with clever animals, wise rulers, and enchanted garden stories that teach courage, kindness, and patience in a voice as soft as a lullaby. The governess watches the children's faces, seeing wonder and delight bloom with every word. The room is bright, the hour unhurried, and the peace within these walls is deep, a refuge from the world's uncertainties. With the stories finished, the governess leads the children outside for a walk through the orchard, where the trees are heavy with fruit. They carry small baskets, eager to gather apples, quince, and late grapes. The governess helps them reach the highest branches, her hand steady as she lifts each child, the fruit cool and fragrant in her palms. The sun is soft, filtered by the golden leaves, and the orchard is alive with the gentle hum of bees and the rustling of branches. The children's laughter is light, echoing through the rows of trees. The governess fills her own basket with the sweetest fruits, planning a compote for supper. The walk is slow, the air filled with the scent of ripe fruit and wood smoke drifting from nearby hearths. She feels the weight of the harvest, a promise of abundance and comfort. They return to the kitchen, and the governess sets the children to washing fruit at the old stone sink. The cool water splashes over their hands, droplets sparkling in the afternoon light. She shows them how to peel and slice the apples, the skins curling away in crimson ribbons, the flesh crisp and fragrant. They work together, the children eager to help, their movements careful and proud. The governess stirs the fruit with honey and spices in a clay pot, the aroma rising to fill the kitchen with notes of cinnamon and clove. She sets the pot on the brazier, the compote simmering slowly, the sound a gentle bubbling. The kitchen is warm, the air thick with the scent of cooking fruit and the laughter of children. The governess feels the day slipping gently into evening, every hour marked by kindness and care. As the compote simmers, the governess takes out her spindle and invites the children to try their hand at spinning. The wool is soft and airy, dyed in pale shades of apricot and sage. She shows the children how to draw the fibers, twist the spindle, and watch the thread form, strong and fine. The children's faces are intent, their hands clumsy but eager, and she offers gentle encouragement for each attempt. The rhythm of spinning is slow, almost hypnotic, a dance of hands and fibers, a quiet assertion of skill and patience. The governess smiles, recalling how her own teacher guided her with the same loving patience. The room is filled with the quiet hum of spinning, the distant bubbling of the compote, and the contentment that comes from making something beautiful and useful with one's own hands. The children soon tire and settle on the rug, watching as the governess continues to spin. Her hands are sure, the spindle whirring softly, the wool winding into a neat little ball. She tells them stories as she works, tales of ancient queens who spun in palace towers, of caravans crossing deserts with bolts of silk, and of gardens that bloomed with every color under the Persian sun. The children listen, their eyes wide with wonder, the world outside shrinking to the safe circle of firelight and familiar voices. The governess' voice is low and soothing, the cadence slow and even, each word a gentle step further into calm. The sun sinks lower, shadows stretching across the floor, and the soft light of evening bathes the room in a glow that is as comforting as a mother's embrace. Supper is prepared with the children's help, a simple meal of rice and lentils, herb salad, and the fragrant compote they made together. The table is laid with a linen cloth, its surface embroidered in delicate blue vines, and each place is set with care. The children wash their hands in a porcelain basin, the water cool and scented with rose petals, and take their seats with quiet anticipation. The governess serves each dish, watching as the children savor the food, their faces alight with pride at their own handiwork. The meal is eaten slowly, every bite a celebration of the day's gentle work, the gifts of the garden, and the warmth of community. The kitchen glows with candlelight, the air rich with the scent of spices and fruit, and the hour is filled with peaceful conversation and the soft clinking of spoons against bowls. After supper, the children help clear the table, their movements unhurried and careful. The governess oversees the washing of dishes, the water warm and fragrant with a few drops of lemon oil. The children dry each piece with soft linen cloths, the fabric cool and smooth, their hands working in quiet harmony. The governess hums a lullaby as she tidies the kitchen, her voice low and soothing, blending with the gentle sounds of evening. The chores are simple, their repetition comforting a familiar end to a day filled with gentle discoveries and quiet joys. As the last dish is set aside, the governess gathers the children for a final story, her heart full of gratitude for the peace that fills the house. The kitchen is still, lit only by a single candle, its flame steady and golden in the deepening dusk. The children settle on the divan, snuggled together beneath a thick woolen blanket, their faces shining in the candlelight. The governess sits beside them, opening a small book of stories, its cover soft with age and use. She reads softly, her voice slow and rhythmic, each word chosen with care. The story is one of kindness and courage, a tale of a young girl who helps an injured bird and is rewarded with a garden that blooms all winter. The children listen, their eyes growing heavy, their bodies sinking into the comfort of the blanket and the gentle cadence of her voice. The governess strokes a little hand, feeling the small fingers curl around her own. The evening is quiet, the shadows long, and the only sound is her voice weaving dreams from words, leading the children slowly toward sleep. One by one, the children drift off, their breathing deep and regular. The governess tucks the blanket tightly around them, smoothing each brow with a loving touch. She rises to tidy the room, folding away the storybook and straightening the cushions. The air is soft and still, the only light the flickering candle on the low table. She walks to the window, looking out into the moonlit courtyard, where the fig trees cast long shadows on the tiles. The night is quiet, the breeze gentle, and the scent of wood smoke drifts in, mingling with the perfume of jasmine and myrtle. The governess closes her eyes, breathing in the peace of the moment, and lets herself rest in the certainty that all is well, that her work has brought comfort and safety to those she loves. The house is silent. The governess returns to her chamber, moving quietly so as not to wake the sleeping children. She changes into her nightgown, the linen soft and cool against her skin, and brushes her hair with slow, deliberate strokes. She lights a small beeswax candle, its honeyed scent gentle and calming. She sits at her writing desk, pen in hand, and records a few lines in her journal, words of gratitude for the day's blessings, for the laughter of children, the abundance of the garden, the warmth of the hearth. Her handwriting is slow and careful, each letter a meditation on kindness and peace. The candle's flame flickers, casting soft shadows on the page, and the room feels timeless, suspended between night and morning, held in perfect, golden stillness. She places her journal beside her bed and kneels for a final prayer, her hands cupped around the candle's warm light. She gives thanks for the gentle passing of the day, for the quiet joys and the love that fills her home. She asks for continued peace, for sweet dreams for the children, and for the strength to meet tomorrow with the same patience and grace. The room is utterly still, the only sounds the distant call of an owl and the soft crackle of embers in the hearth. The governess feels her spirit settle, her breath slowing as she lets go of the day's cares. She blows out the candle, the darkness that follows soft and safe, wrapping her in a cocoon of rest. The air is sweet with the scent of beeswax and lavender, and sleep hovers near, gentle and sure. The governess slips into bed, the mattress yielding beneath her, the quilt heavy and warm. She draws the covers close, burying her face in the softness of the pillow, the linen cool against her skin. The world narrows to the quiet comfort of the bed, the faint rustle of leaves outside, and the slow, even rhythm of her breath. She listens to the silence, letting it fill her, each sound real or imagined becoming a thread in the tapestry of sleep. The air is cool, tinged with the fragrance of woodsmoke and the lingering memory of herbs. The room is utterly safe, every corner known and cherished, every shadow gentle. The governess lets herself drift, trusting in the slow unfolding of night, the certainty that peace is found in small, loving acts, in the quiet repetition of care. She dreams again, this time of her own mother, sitting beside a window heavy with wisteria blooms. The air is warm and bright, the scent of flowers thick and sweet. Her mother's hands are skillful, weaving garlands for a festival, her laughter light and musical. The governess is a child once more, safe in the circle of her mother's arms, learning by touch and song. The dream is soft, luminous, untroubled by time. The memory is not sharp but warm, a golden haze that suffuses her whole being. She sees herself learning to mend and tend and care, each lesson given in kindness, never hurry. The dream is a slow drift down a gentle river, each moment dissolving into the next, all anchored in the profound certainty of being loved and cherished. The scene shifts in her dream. She walks again through the autumn garden of her home, the leaves a quilt of gold and russet beneath her feet. The fruit trees are heavy with their last gifts of the season, and the air is crisp, sharp with the promise of coming frost. She gathers the fallen fruit, feeling the smooth skin of apples, the dimpled surface of quinces, the plump roundness of grapes. Each fruit is a small promise of sweetness and comfort through the winter. The governess pauses to watch a butterfly settle on a marigold, its wings opening and closing in slow, lazy rhythm. The sun is setting, the world turning soft with shadow, and every sound the whisper of wind, the distant call of a bird becomes a lullaby, coaxing her deeper into peaceful sleep. In the deep quiet of night, only the softest sounds remain. The slow drip of water in the garden fountain, the gentle creak of wood as the house settles, the distant murmur of a neighbor's song fading into silence. The governess is half awake, half dreaming, her mind floating on waves of comfort. She feels the weight of the quilt, the softness of her pillow, the rhythm of her own heartbeat. The room is dark, but not empty. Every shadow is familiar, every corner a memory of safety. She breathes in the scent of beeswax and lavender, lets her thoughts drift over the day's small joys, the gleam of sunlight on tiles, the hush of the schoolroom, the laughter of children, the slow turning of seasons. Each memory is a pebble dropped into a pond, rippling outward in ever-widening circles of peace. She dreams once more of spinning and weaving, but this time the threads are of light and shadow, woven into patterns of stars. The loom is vast, filling the whole world, and her hands move with surety, creating tapestries of night sky and moonlit gardens. The stars glitter in the fabric, each one a bright promise, a memory, or a hope for the future. The act of weaving is slow, hypnotic, each pass of the shuttle a step closer to perfect rest. The governess feels no hurry, only the slow, sweet satisfaction of work well done, the knowledge that beauty endures in every small act of patience. The world is soft, bathed in silver and gold, and the only sound is the gentle hush of her own breath, the slow, sure rhythm of sleep settling in. The night is deep and silent, the house wrapped in layers of warmth and safety. The governess lies still, her heart quiet, her body relaxed. The distant sound of a bell echoes across the rooftops, marking the passage of another hour. It is a gentle sound, a reminder that time is a river, flowing slow and steady through the darkness. The governess lets her thoughts drift, each one dissolving into the next, a slow cascade of images and sensations: soft linen, scented herbs, the flicker of candlelight, the warmth of a child's hand, the hush of a sleeping house. She breathes deeply, her chest rising and falling in time with the slow rhythm of the night. Each breath carries her further from waking, further into the safe, endless sea of sleep. A faint breeze stirs the curtain, carrying with it the scent of autumn leaves and distant smoke. The room is cool, but the bed is warm, the quilt a cocoon of comfort. The governess' thoughts grow slower, more diffuse, each one fading before it can fully form. She listens to the silence, the subtle creak of wood, the far-off call of a night bird, and lets these gentle sounds lull her deeper into sleep. She feels herself floating, weightless, cradled by the softness of the bed and the certainty of safety. The night outside is vast, but inside all is known and cherished, every object a memory, every shadow a friend. The boundary between dream and waking blurs, and the only thing that matters is the soft, repetitive rhythm of breath and the warmth that embraces her from head to toe. The world has narrowed to sensation. The coolness of linen, the heaviness of the quilt, the faint warmth where her hand rests against her cheek. The governess is aware of nothing but comfort, the deep, bone-deep comfort of home, of care, of peace. She thinks of the day's gentle rituals, the slow unfolding of hours, the quiet pride in small achievements. Her mind drifts like a leaf on water, turning slowly, unhurried, the current carrying her deeper into sleep. The house is utterly still now, every child safe, every lamp extinguished, every window closed against the night. The air is thick with the promise of rest, and the governess lets herself go, surrendering to the slow, sweet pull of dreams, her body growing heavier, her thoughts softer, until only breath and darkness remain. Outside, the world sleeps. The moon hangs low above the garden, bathing the fig trees in silver light. The fountain song is soft, almost imperceptible, a gentle backdrop to the house's silence. Within, the governess lies deeply asleep, her face peaceful, her breath slow. The children are safe in their beds, their dreams undisturbed, their hearts protected by the quiet strength of her care. The night is endless, a stretch of velvet darkness broken only by the softest sounds: the shifting of quilts, the sighing of wind, the distant chime of a bell. The air is cool and clean, tinged with the fading scent of wood smoke and herbs. The house is a haven, each wall holding 100 quiet blessings, each room a memory of love and gentle continuity. Time itself slows, each second stretching, soft and golden, inviting deeper rest. The candle at the bedside guttered long ago, its last glow fading into darkness. The room is now lit only by the pale light of the moon, which creeps across the floor in a slow, silver tide. The governess' breathing is the only sound, soft and steady, a lullaby for the quiet house. The air is cool, the linen pillow cold against her cheek, the quilt's weight a gentle reminder of home. The world outside is silent, the garden still, the stars drifting in slow procession above the rooftops. Inside, all is softness and safety, the shadows deep and kind, the night endless and forgiving. The governess lies utterly still, her body at rest, her heart wrapped in peace, her mind surrendered to the slow, sweet rhythm of sleep that holds her fast. Softly, the world turns. The moon shifts in the sky, its light silvering the tiled roofs, the branches of the fig tree, the delicate tracery of the garden gate. The house is silent, every room a cocoon of warmth and memory. The governess stirs in her sleep, sighs, and settles deeper, her dreams a gentle drift of remembered gardens, quiet lessons, the laughter of children, and the scent of herbs and flowers. The night is deep, time unhurried, each moment stretching into the next in a slow, gentle rhythm. The air is cool, the quilt warm, the bed familiar and beloved. The world is safe, the walls strong, the hearth cold but waiting for dawn's first light. All is well, all is peace, and the governess breathing is a slow and endless lullaby. The silence is complete. The only sound is the faint sigh of the breeze, the distant, almost imaginary murmur of water in the garden fountain. The room is utterly dark, the moon's light barely a memory. The governess sleeps on, her body curled beneath the quilt, her hand resting over her heart. The night is thick and soft, without end or hurry, every moment a slow, sweet drift toward morning. The air is cool, the pillow cold, the quilt heavy and comforting. She dreams of nothing now, only a long slide into perfect rest, a surrender to the deep, gentle stillness that fills the house. The world turns quietly outside, the hours slipping past like drops of water, each one a promise of safety and peace. All is well now and always. Soft breathing fills the room. The governess is lost in sleep, her face serene, her body utterly relaxed. The quilt rises and falls with each breath, the movement as slow and gentle as the tide. The night outside is silent, the garden still, the sky silver and endless. The air is cool, the linen sheet smooth and soft against her skin. The house is a fortress of peace, every door locked, every window closed, every lamp extinguished. The governess is at rest, her dreams a wash of soft colors and gentle sounds, no fear, no haste, only the sweet, slow drift of sleep. The hour is late, the world is safe, and the only task now is to rest, to let sleep carry her away, deeper and deeper, until even dreams fall silent and only peace remains. The minutes pass like falling leaves, slow and silent. The world is utterly quiet, the house dark and still. The governess lies motionless, wrapped in the heavy warmth of her quilt, her breath a gentle tide. The garden outside is silvered by the moon, every leaf and stone touched with pale light. The fountain song is softer now, a distant memory. Inside, the air is cool and sweet, scented with the last breath of wood smoke and lavender. The governess' mind is empty of thought, her body utterly at ease. Time slows to a crawl, every second another layer of rest. The night holds her in its arms, safe and unhurried, a hush that is endless and complete. The only sound is her slow, steady breathing, a lullaby for the sleeping house. Soft shadows drift across the floor, the moon's light fading as dawn approaches. The house is silent, the garden still, the world held in the gentle embrace of night. The governess sleeps on, her face peaceful, her body relaxed, her mind adrift in the deepest sea of rest. The quilt is heavy and warm, the pillow cool, the air sweet with the memory of herbs and flowers. The silence is profound, every corner of the house wrapped in safety and peace. The minutes slip past unnoticed, each one a soft caress, a promise that morning will come but not yet, not until every trace of weariness has been soothed away. The governess surrenders to the night, trusting in the slow rhythm of sleep, the quiet comfort of her bed, the gentle protection of home. The world is reduced to sensation, the weight of the quilt, the coolness of linen, the slow in and out of breath. The house is utterly still, the air heavy with peace. The garden outside shimmers in the last light of the moon, the trees motionless, the fountain silent. The governess lies deep in sleep, her dreams faded to nothing, her mind a quiet pool. There is no hurry, no noise, only the slow drift of time in the darkness. Every muscle is relaxed, every thought dissolved. The house is safe, the children are safe, the world is gentle and kind. The silence is endless, each second a soft invitation to rest. The governess floats on the sea of sleep, her body warm and heavy, her mind empty, her heart at peace. The last hour before dawn is the quietest of all. The house is wrapped in darkness, the only movement the slow rise and fall of the governess' chest. The quilt is heavy, the pillow cool, the room absolutely still. The air is scented with the ghost of wood smoke, the faintest trace of lavender. The silence is complete, a soft blanket that covers every worry, every care. The governess is utterly at rest, lost in the deep, healing quiet of sleep. The garden outside is lost in shadow, the moon a memory, the fountain silent. The world is safe and soft, every minute stretched into hours of peace. All is well, and nothing is needed but this soft breath, warm bed, the gentle certainty that morning is far away, and rest is endless. As the first pale hint of dawn touches the sky, the house remains silent and still. The governess sleeps on, undisturbed, her face calm, her body relaxed. The quilt holds her in gentle embrace, the linen cool and smooth. The air is sweet with the last whispers of night herbs, wood smoke, the memory of flowers. Time barely moves, each second drawn out, slow and soft. The darkness is kind, the silence absolute, the peace unbroken. The world outside waits quietly for morning, but inside, all is rest and safety. The governess' dreams are gentle, her mind empty of care or worry. Sleep holds her, deep and sure, a comfort as old as time, a promise that she is safe and cherished, that nothing can disturb the perfect, endless hush of night. The minutes between night and day are the slowest and sweetest. The house is dark, the garden still, the world suspended in soft silence. The governess sleeps, her breath slow and deep, her face serene. The quilt is heavy, the pillow cool, the air fragrant with the last sigh of wood smoke and herbs. No sound breaks the quiet, no light disturbs the darkness. Time stretches, each moment a soft caress, an invitation to rest. The governess is lost in sleep, her body and mind utterly at ease. The night is endless, the peace complete, the comfort absolute. The house is a haven, every stone and beam holding the memory of gentle days and safe nights. Sleep continues, deep and unbroken, the world held in the slow, golden hush before dawn. In these last minutes, the world is utterly still. The house is wrapped in darkness, the garden silent, the air cool and sweet. The governess lies deep in sleep, her breathing slow, her heart at peace. The quilt holds her safe, the pillow cool, the silence absolute. Every corner of the house is filled with rest, every shadow gentle, every memory kind. There is no hurry, no sound, only the soft rhythm of breath and the promise of morning far away. The night is a gentle cocoon, holding her and all she loves in perfect peace. Sleep is endless, sweet, and surely a balm for the soul, a blanket for the weary, a silent hymn of safety and love. The world waits quietly, the hush unbroken, and the governess remains, wrapped in warmth and the certainty of rest. And so, dear friend, our gentle journey comes to a close. Thank you so very much for spending this peaceful evening with us. We hope this story has brought you comfort, warmth, and the sweetest rest. Until next time, sleep well, and know that another cozy tale awaits you soon. Good night.